Hello and welcome to my new video. In this video, I am going to talk about confidentiality in professions. So let's start the video on the discussion confidentiality in professions. I am Atiko Rahman. The summary of today's video is what is confidentiality. Then I will discuss justification, what is justification of confidentiality, and what are types of confidentiality, and uh, how confidentiality basically should be handled with changing jobs. Then I would discuss confidentiality and management policies, and in the end, I would discuss some limits of confidentiality. I want to start this video with the famous quote in the book, The Soul of a New Machine, that was written by Kidder. Kidder ends his book by quoting a regional sales manager speaking to the sales representatives preparing to market the new computer. Um he asks them first what motivates people. Um then he answered his own question, saying, ego and the money to buy things that they and their families want. Um, this was the answer to his question, what motivates people. Um, First, I would like to define confidentiality. Uh, Confidentiality is the duty to keep secrets, all information deemed desirable to be kept secret. Then the question arises: this is deemed by whom? Basically, it is any information that the employer or client would like to have kept secret to compete effectively against business rival. No organization wants to give its um, secrets to the other organization, so they might copy or they might use it in a more effective way. So nobody wants to basically give its confidential information to its competitors. At times, it is understood to be any data concerning the company's business or technical processes that are not already public knowledge. Uh, but more appropriately, it points to the employer or client as the main source of decision as to what information is to be treated as confidential. Not all the information is confidential, but the employer or the client decides what information is classified and what information is not classified. In hospitals, some of the data about the patients is given, but not all the data about the patients is given to different other for analysis, etc. things. Uh, Keeping secret is a relational expression. It always makes sense to ask secret with respect to whom. There are different types of secrets in different situations. Let's say if somebody working in intelligence agencies have a very defined system about the information that they are not able to disclose to anyone. They have very classified documents. So intelligence agencies and organizations like that have a different set of basically documents or information that is considered classified. However, in governmental agencies and private companies, engineers and other employees are usually expected to withhold information labeled confidential from unauthorized people, both inside and outside the organization. In engineering organization or companies, engineers are basically uh, liable to hold confidential information. Then I want to discuss how basically this confidentiality can be justified. The question arises, on what moral basis does the confidentiality obligation rest with its scope and obvious importance? What should be the answer to this question? The answer is obviously the primary justification is to respect the autonomy of individuals and corporations and to recognize their legitimate control over private information concerning themselves. Uh, this is the main objective of the uh, confidentiality. And all the major ethical theories that we know, right, duty, utilitarian, and virtue approach, all these approaches basically recognize the importance of autonomy, right? Each organization or client is an autonomous. The organization or the client can maintain its privacy or some classified information. Additional information include trustworthiness. And confidentiality basically results in trustworthiness between an employee and the employer. Let's say if there are patients, they should have a trust uh, on their doctor, so that they can basically uh, tell them uh, uh, the whole of their private matters, or uh, about their disease, uh, so that they can disclose that easily. Um, and when clients go to attorneys or tax accountants, they expect them to maintain confidentiality, and the professional indicates that confidentiality will be maintained. Similarly, employees often make promises in the form of signing contracts not to divulge certain information considered sensitive by the employer. These are all basically results of trustworthiness. The next point, next justification could be there are public benefits in recognizing confidentiality relationships with professional contexts. Um, that that is of mutual benefit uh, in professional context. Um, Take an example that if patients are to have the best chances of being cured, they must feel completely free to reveal the most personal information about themselves to physician, and that requires trust that the physician will not divulge private information. Similarly, the economic benefits of competitiveness within a free market are promoted when companies can maintain some degree of confidentiality about their products. Developing new products often require investing large resources in acquiring new knowledge. The motivation to work, the motivation to make those investments might diminish if that knowledge were immediately dispersed to competitors, who could then quickly make better products at lesser cost, as they did not have to make comparable investment in research and development. Suppose if organizations do not make confidentiality and they make public all of their data, then somebody might use it and copy it uh, and make a better product than the actual one. So their cost will be lesser and they will be more successful. So one has to keep the information confidential. These are different justifications that may be given to basically justify the confidentiality. Next is, what are the types of confidentiality? First one is privileged information. Privileged information is available on the basis of special privilege, such as the privilege accorded an employee working on a special assignment. People working on special assignments in intelligence agencies have right to use basically privileged information. They cannot disclose it to anyone, and nobody else knows that. Uh, and similarly, in other organizations, there are some classified documents which are only available to uh, just privileged employees working in that organization. Next is proprietary information. It is information that a company owns or is the proprietor of. Basically, it has a synonym which is trade secret. A trade secret could be any type of information that has not become public, uh, which which an employer has taken steps to keep secret and which is thereby given limited legal protection in common. Let's say it, it is commonly known in Pakistan uh, that Coca-Cola company hasn't basically disclosed its formula of making Coke. So it's a kind of trade secret for them. They do not want their formula to be made public. However, there is no legal protection for this for the trade secrets. Next is patents. Patents are legally protected specific products from from the manufacturers and sold by competitors without the express permission of the patent holder. Uh, in patents, you have basically sort of legal binding that is by the law. Uh, Trade secrets do not have such protection. The competitors can basically uh, follow these trade secrets by copying or some using some reverse engineering by carefully analyzing the product. However, the drawback of the patents could be that they are public. Trade secrets are not public, and which allows the competitors easy means of working around them by finding alternative design. You can make an alternative design to a patent. Next is confidentiality and changing jobs. People and engineers keep on changing their job for the development of their career or so on so reasons. But how to maintain confidentiality while changing jobs? The obligation to protect confidential information does not cease when employees change jobs. If it did, it would be impossible to protect such information. Former employees would quickly divulge it to their new employers or perhaps for a price sell it to competitors of their former employer. This can happen when basically somebody changes its job. The relationship of trust between employer and the employee in regard to confidentiality continues beyond the formal period of employment. Suppose if you work in an organization for 2 years and then you change uh, uh, your job, and it doesn't mean that the confidentiality has gone away with the job. You have to basically keep secret the information of your ex organization um, in a new environment as well. Unless the employer gives consent, former employees are barred indefinitely from revealing trade secrets. One cannot reveal the trade secrets to any other organization without the consent of the uh, basically parent organization where the trade secrets have been acquired. However, all these are things are well said than done. Confidentiality is often compromised by engineers and other employers due to different reasons. Let's say if an engineer is looking for career advancement, so that it switches jobs and so to acquire more salary and benefits, it could happen that confidentiality is compromised. There are research and development related jobs. Research and development related jobs requires knowledge of the field. So at times, intentionally or unintentionally, they use the trade secrets of the former employment to the current employment. At times, there is same nature of job in an organization. You are working as a software developer in an organization, and you go as a software developer into the another organization. Then basically you have same sort of work, and this might be a reason to disclose the trade secret. There could be also a reason that you go into a competitor organization, and they hire you just because you will be giving them the trade secrets. Next is confidentiality and changing jobs. Some examples of confidentiality. There was a very famous case of secret violations settled in January 1997 between uh, two famous European companies, Volkswagen and General Motors. Uh, Basically, Volkswagen paid $100 million in cash to General Motors and Adam Opel, and they basically buy $1 billion in parts from General Motors over the next 7 years. Why this happened? Because uh, uh, Lopez, a GM, a very highly effective manufacturing expert, basically switched job from the General Motor to the Volkswagen. Volkswagen and General Motors are fierce competitors of each other in uh, Europe. When Mr. Lopez changed his job, he took with him three other colleagues and know-how and basically the copies of classified confidential General Motor documents. So the General Motors went into the court against Volkswagen, the uh, and the court settled the matter with the payment of $100 million in cash for the compensation and buying of 1 million in parts from the General Motors. Another famous example is of uh, Donald uh, Voldemort, uh, who was a chemical engineer in BF Godrej spacesuit division. He was not satisfied with his salary and research facilities at Goodrich, so he negotiated another job in International Latex Corporation as a manager of engineering for industrial products. At that time, International Latex Corporation got a very huge contract of preparing Apollo astronaut spacesuits. So he was appointed as a general manager for this project. Uh, and, Knowing all these things, Goodrich company went into the court against International Lattice Corporation and Donald Voldemort. Uh, the issue was settled in the court in favor of Voldemort. Um, Personal right to seek career advancement. He was given favor because the decision to switch job uh, was personal, as he wanted to see. career advancement. However, he was basically found guilty of revealing the trade secrets, and the court forbade him uh, not to reveal any trade secrets in future. So it is almost impossible to fully basically compel an employer not to give any information about the previous job. One can say to fully protect the secrets of an employer on a new job would thus virtually require that part of the engineer brain be removed, which is obviously not possible. Uh, Next is confidentiality and management policies. What might be the ways to legitimize the interests and rights of engineers and other employees while also recognizing the rights of employers? There are some points by following which you can maintain confidentiality. Uh, First point is employment contracts that place special restriction on future employment. Uh, Changing jobs could be restricted by having a very strict employment contract. Uh, but this is a very difficult scenario as every person has the right to basically have an advancement in career. So this such a type of restriction is very strict in nature for the employers. Next is employers basically can lure the important employees by giving them contract provisions like pension and other benefits. This basically might help them for their long life in an organization. The organization can also give them a further opportunity of being hired as a consultant after their uh, stipulated time. Giving such provisions might help to make the life of an employee or engineer in an organization long. Okay, next is placing tighter controls on the internal flow of information by restricting access to trade secrets except where absolutely essential. Such tighter control on the flow of information basically results in uh, distrust of uh, distrust of at the workplace. It also basically lessens creativity among employees, uh, especially when they are involved in research and development. So it is not considered as a very good idea. Next is employers may try uh, to generate a sense of professional responsibility among their staff, and that reaches beyond merely obeying the directives of current employers. Next is encouraging and making the employees realize their professional responsibility uh, not to disclose uh, the trade secrets or the confidential information. In this way, professional concerns and employee loyalty can become intertwined and reinforce each other. This could be a very better way uh, because it can basically uh, better make the confidential information um, to be kept secret. In the end, I would discuss the limits of confidentiality. Um at times, confidentiality is used to hide misdeeds. Investigations into a wide variety of white-collar crimes covered up by management industry or public agencies have been thwarted by invoking confidentiality or false claims of secrecy based on national interest. Um, it, it is sometimes used as a justification to wrongdoings. There are many examples of it. One has to basically search out. I expect you will search some examples related to it for yourself. Hopefully, you have enjoyed this lecture. I have given uh, different meanings of confidentiality and what is confidentiality while changing jobs and how management, what should be the management policy to maintain confidentiality. And in the end, I have also discussed some limits of confidentiality. Thank you very much for your time.